Ayo, what's cracking, ladies and gents? Welcome back to another Ever Crisis video. In today's video, we are going to be looking at yet another very hard mode Crisis dungeon. And if you enjoy the video, please do subscribe, like, comment, all that good stuff. So today's Crisis dungeon is going to be Corel Prison. And there are tons of possible weapons that you could use. Just so many that are actually good here. Basically just bring what's best for you, your best weapons. In general, you need a lightning weapon, an ice weapon, and buffing weapons can be pretty good as well. And so with debuffing as well. Special shout out to Matt's Centipede, which is pretty good here because of the AoE heal and physical defense. Same thing with teams, you can pretty much bring your best team. I've got a couple of team ideas here, not to say that they're the best or anything, but just a few ideas in case you are not sure who to bring with. You could bring something like my team, for instance, where I'm using Cloud for lightning damage, and Sephiroth for ice damage, Aerith for heals, and Snowflake to lower the enemy's magic defense. For a more magic oriented team, you could bring the same Aerith from the previous slide. You could bring Sephiroth with Edged Wings and Protector's Blade for the AoE possibilities and the boost magic attack for all allies. And you could bring Lucia with Thunderbird for lightning and magic defense debuff, and Bold Eagle for the ice resist down. Other than that, you could also do something similar but switch it up. You could bring CC Alloy Sword for Sephiroth instead, so he can also cover some more lightning damage. You could also switch out Lucia for Ketchi, and for Ketchi you could actually end up bringing something like his Flower Vase and his Blue Megaphone for some buffs and for ice damage. If you want to bring a physical team, you could bring something like Tifa as your main DPS with Holy Flame Gloves and Cloud to cover the lightning side of things. And you could bring Yuffie with Arctic Star to raise your physical attack and Pinwheel to lower the enemy's ice resistance. You also want to bring single target cures on everyone for this because there's no AoE healer. And Yuffie could switch her weapons out to Spiral Shuriken for even more ice damage and Wind Slash for thunder resist down. You could also swap out Cloud for Matt, bring Broadsword Axis for lightning, and Bramblespine for buffs, or Centipede as mentioned for AoE heal and physical defense buff, which is pretty good in this dungeon. In general, you want to bring lightning and ice materia and weapons, obviously, and you want triangle sigil. So triangle runes, and you also definitely need an healing Essener for darkness, and you could bring healing Esseners for poison and fatigue if you think you're going to struggle with the Grash enemies. So what to know, triangle rune must be physical because the Scorpion will counter magical, and also try to bring at least one triangle sigil boost weapon because two of the enemies have a lot of sigils in their stream phase. Generally, you want a strong ice single target and AoE, and a strong lightning single target attack. Also, when you see that guy at the bottom, Scorching Claw, you want to kill him as fast as possible because he has a pretty powerful single target attack that could cause you trouble. As for the bosses and their details, as well as their various trance abilities, you can kind of pause here and check them out. You've got Scorpion Sentinel, Yornashrike and the Grash family, the Mole Crawler and his buddies, the Landworm and Bloody Worm, and the final boss is Dyne. Of course, here's the item score chart if you need that. My team, I'm bringing Sephiroth for ice damage with his whole ice setup, and yeah, bringing a lightning materia so he can also do lightning damage, and a physical triangle. His sub-equipment is for ice, and you can check out his stats and R abilities. Then for heals, I'm bringing Aerith with her magic attack outfit, Fairy Tail for AoE heals, and Snowflake to lower the enemy's magic defense. Again, a physical triangle rune, lightning so she can do lightning damage, and healing Essener for darkness. Her sub-equipment gives her these stats and R abilities. I focused on HP, magic attack, and magic ability potency. And then finally, I'm bringing Cloud for the lightning damage with his typical lightning setup. He also has an ice materia to also do ice damage, and healing Essener for darkness. I focused on HP and lightning potency. That is my team. Take a look at the map real quick. You start off over here, so you're forced to take on the Scorpion Sentinel first. And then when you're done, you can grab the items, and on the left side is the Grash family. And on the right side are the worms. And then the Mole Crawler is chilling up here. Of course, the final boss is in the well, and that's Dyne. And as for random battles, you're going to get one over here by this chest, and one at the top here by that chest. So without further ado, let's get into my run. Of course, you have to face the Scorpion Sentinel first, but before that, some general tips. For this, you want to kill the Scorching Claw first. Having plenty of HP and a magic defense buff can be really useful. You want to heal up and buff the targeted character. Ice and lightning damage are effective against the Scorpion, and then you want to break the triangle sigil with physical. My battle plan is to kill the Scorching Claw, kill the Blue Goo and avoid his hellish spikes, heal up the targeted character, smash him with ice, break the sigil phase with physical damage, and finish with ice. So this is where having a single target magic defense buff can come in useful. You could buff the targeted character, which in this case is Cloud, but I just tank it. Then after a few fire missiles, he will go into his stream phase. And as I mentioned, you need physical rune for this, because if you hit him with a magical rune, he will counter you. I got 61k for this. And now the Trance ability from the Scorpion is probably the most important one in the whole dungeon. I would recommend taking either Ice 30 or Lightning 30. In general, I would say Lightning 30 is probably better because the Mole Crawler and one of the worms are weak to lightning. Whereas for Ice, the Mole Crawler is not weak to it, but only one of the worms are. But in my case, I'm actually going with the ice potency because I have a specific strategy. I actually don't want to do too much damage to the Mole Crawler, and I want to take out the yellow worm who is weak to ice first. So that is why I go with ice potency, but based on your team, your setup, you need to plan your run and decide which one is best for you. So choose wisely. So after this, I grab the items and I go to the Grash enemies first. They are pretty easy to kill if you have Shiva up. Generally, you want to have her ready for this, otherwise AoE ice abilities will work really well, and you also might want to bring poison and fatigue Esseners if you can't kill them very quickly. And then of course they have a triangle stream phase. So my strategy is to just finish charging my Shiva and more or less one-shot them with her. And that is that. Pretty simple, 61.6k for that one. And then for the Trance abilities here, I would recommend taking the defenses. Because the worms and the final boss hit pretty hard with AoE physical damage. So after the Scorpion fight, I heal up Cloud with a special supplement and high potion, because he was the one that took the tail laser. And instead of going to the random battles, I actually go straight onto the mole crawler. And yeah, there's a reason for this, but that is has to do with my strategy. In general, you can use the random battles to charge your limit breaks and summons for this fight. And again, having plenty of HP and a magic defense buff can help. You can magic defense buff and heal up the characters targeted by Blazing Ray. Earth and lightning damage are effective against him, and obviously cocktails from the mobs and offensive buffs are going to help. And if you're struggling, you can actually also use my slow strategy. And that is to use no buffs or cocktails, and I take my time killing the blue goos, and I hold my summons and my DPS, sort of switching to defensive to heal up and not do much damage. And that is because if you do a certain amount of damage to him, he will go from his onslaught phase into his showdown phase and cast Blazing Ray earlier. But if you don't do much damage to him, he will actually get his cooldown phase before going into his showdown phase, and he will debuff himself and he'll be super vulnerable and you could just wreck him then. So that is my plan. And then you basically don't have to deal with Blazing Ray at all. So here it is, chilling, casually taking down the ads, and then switching to defense to heal and do as little damage as possible until he goes into cooldown phase. Defend double burst shot, heal up, and yeah, just chill. Then the cooldown phase starts, and now he will take tons of damage, especially magic damage. So just unload everything onto him, and it should be pretty simple. So of course I won't get as high a score for this because I took my time, but yeah, it's not a dungeon ranking, so the score will be more than enough for an S+. 58.9 this time. Now that that's out of the way, I'm going to grab the defensive trance ability again, because just like before, if you don't, either way it'll be super helpful honestly, because the worms and the final boss do a lot of damage. But it's also very helpful if you didn't bring AoE physical defense buff. So now I just fight the random mobs, take Scorching Claw out first here, and that's pretty much all there is to say about that. This is also helping me charge my limit break and summons for Cloud and Aerith for the worms. These guys, you basically just want to try and kill one or two before the high voltage goes off so that you don't take too much damage. Now the worms are pretty scary, so before facing them, pop whatever items you need to pop. In my case, I'm going to use cocktails for all of my teammates. So Blizzard for Sephiroth and Aerith, and Thunder for Cloud. I'm also going to pop a few ethers, and that's pretty much it. For the worms, general tips are to ideally have your summons ready for this. A physical attack debuff and physical defense AoE buff would be very useful. You could also bring earth and water resistance if you are really struggling. And you definitely need to bring a darkness Essener and a triangle sigil boost weapon. At least one of them will be very helpful. For these guys, the yellow one is weak to ice and the red one is weak to lightning. And taking the defensive trances like I did can make all the difference here. And also make sure to have a powerful single target ice and lightning attacks. I focused the yellow one first, but honestly you can focus whichever one first based on your strategy. If you have a lightning potency strategy, go for the red one first. My battle plan is to cocktail up as I have my summons ready, drop them, and burst the yellow one with ice before they both get their attacks off. Then tank the remaining one's attack, and break the sigil phase, and finish him off with thunder. In general, you want to really try and kill one of them before their attacks get off, because if they get both of their attacks off, you are probably dead. And also, shout out to Matt Centipede once more. That'll be pretty useful here because you can heal up and AoE physical defense buff for this attack. I just tank it. And yeah. 44 sigils, that's why I say a triangle sigil boost weapon will be pretty useful here. It gives you a little bit of breathing room so that you can finish the stream phase and still have some time to heal up and such. And then just finish the remaining worm. For me it's lightning. If you left the yellow one up, then it'll be ice. 57.7 for this one. And these Trance abilities are useless to me, so I just grabbed whatever because I didn't bring any of these buffs, but you can plan ahead and bring one of these buffs to make use of these Trance abilities. And now we go down the well for the final boss, Dyne. But before that, some general tips as always. And of course items. In my case, I use supplements on all of my characters. And then I use a Blizzard cocktail for Sephiroth and a Thunder cocktail for Cloud. So for this fight, having Shiva ready at the beginning will be useful to at least clear out the ads. Then you can also debuff Dyne, his physical defense or magic defense, whichever DPS you are using. You definitely want to bring Darkness Essener and a Triangle Sigil boost just like the worms. And an AoE physical defense buff can be useful just like the worms as well. So shout out Matt Centipede once more. And then you want to prepare your Darkness Essener following his cooldown after his Molotov. And you want to break the triangle stream phase while keeping up single target heals because he spams you with Needle Gun. As for finishing him off, killing him after the stream phase, you can either play it slow, let him get off his second Molotov and then kill him during his self-stun, or you can burst him and just tank his final attack. You may be able to use Cloud's Organics weapon to stun him just before finishing him. I'm not sure if that actually works though. And I believe you can finish him with a limit break and that will not trigger his final attack. As for my strategy, if you could call it that, it's not really a strategy. I just drop my cocktails, drop my summons after lowering his magic defense, which I actually didn't even do. Then I just tank his Molotov, DPS and heal up, clear the darkness, break his stream phase, and then I just burst and tank his finisher instead of having, you know, a physical defense buff. So if you want, you should probably follow the general guide and not my strategy. Here you can see I'm aping it out, just tanking his stuff with no buffs. Getting ready with Cure the Darkness after this. Yep, there it is, and yeah, just attacking him. There's the stream phase, again, 44 sigils, so sigil boost will be pretty useful here. And then again, as mentioned, I'm just aping it out. I'm not using any real strategy here. I'm just going to kill him, heal up, and just basically tank the finishing move. which is not ideal. If it was a dungeon ranking, I would of course do it differently and actually, do the mechanics properly, but it's not a dungeon ranking and this is fine. That is that. I got 49.7 for that one, and that is more than enough for an S+. So hopefully everything in this guide, all the information can help you also get your own S+. And yeah, that is pretty much it. There it is, final score 869, S+, and yeah, that's more than enough. So, as I said, your run might be quite different, but I hope that you can get an S+, and that this has been helpful to you. Thank you so much for watching, as always. Excuse my dog barking in the background, and see ya.